is something that hasn't really been responded to by the negative team this entire debate. They've been presenting burdens on us for what we need to prove to pass our plan, and we have consistently fulfilled them. So the first thing I'd like to do in this speech is address the last speech of the negative team. They first brought up how criminal courts had come after commissions, and they said that some people can appeal their being convicted in military commissions. My response is no impact. They did not provide examples of that, meaning that our case didn't matter. And there are many examples of people who had tried to appeal their convictions or being held in Guantanamo where it didn't actually happen. They have failed to provide an actual impact to the fact that people can maybe move to criminal courts after being tried in military commissions. This doesn't address the fact that military commissions are fundamentally flawed. Their next point was that the same standards don't mean the same abilities. They could say that, well, maybe the two systems have the same evidence standards, but that doesn't mean that federal courts can handle terrorism cases. My response is first, precedent of success. We've shown how federal courts deal with the most dangerous international terrorists and have done so efficiently and effectively throughout their entire lifespan. And my second response is federal courts are well equipped. In our 1AC, we actually read the point talking about how it is evidence of capacity of competence when we were talking about how criminal courts work. When it comes to actually fairly processing criminal cases, nothing compares to the combination of Justice Department prosecutors, federal public defenders, and the judges and staff of the Article 3 federal courts. We have absolute reason to believe that federal courts are well equipped to deal with these cases, based on the precedent of success and how they are well equipped. Their next point was that this is not foreign policy, and my response is our consistent responses. We brought up a myriad of responses throughout this round. The fact that our foreign policy definition is from a person who is involved in this area. The fact that foreign policy can be applied to things different than just government to government. How even though this technically addresses an institution under U.S. jurisdiction, we're directing our policy at foreign entities. And also that our definition is realistic, and that we shouldn't pigeonhole foreign policy into one simple understanding. Because of that, we've seen consistent reasons for why our case is a foreign policy and is a substantial foreign policy. Therefore, why it is on topic. The next point, they said we can't actually pass the plan because it might cost money and that there might not be able to afford it. My response is normal budgetary means. I thought my partner made this pretty clear in our last speech. Guantanamo Bay costs more than federal courts across the board, and this falls within under normal budgetary means outlined by how federal courts deal with criminal cases. They haven't really made it concrete how this is actually a problem or why we need to prove this. We've demonstrated how federal courts are just better in general. The next point was that we can't mandate justice. That's some rhetoric they've used throughout this round. My response is we are working towards justice. The negative team properly identified that justice is a qualitative advantage. We are not trying to reach some standard of justice that is somehow good. We are working towards justice. And we can see through the current system how federal courts are better at achieving justice. They have not shown how military commissions should still be preserved in any way. We are not saying that we're mandating justice. We're mandating a policy that works towards justice. That's what we're trying to accomplish. Now I'd like to bring up a couple more voting issues or reasons why affirmative team's points stand. First is advantages to federal courts, something that the negative team has failed to really dismantle throughout this whole round. The first point under this is due punishment in due time. All of the pieces of evidence showing how federal courts are better than military commissions have not been responded to by the negative team. How they both address more terrorists and they also do so more quickly. They also have due punishment when comparing two cases where they were charged under the same charge and then completely different results in each system. Those advantages stand. Furthermore, international cooperation. They said that we can't prove that, but that's far from the truth. We've shown how international cooperation happens in the current system when federal courts are used. So if federal courts are used all the time, international cooperation is guaranteed. That is fundamentally not been responded to this whole round. The next voting issue is no compelling reason to use commissions. No compelling reasons to use commissions. Now, the negative team has been getting up and saying that they just have to prove that our case should be passed. But the problem with that idea is, as my partner and I have made very clear, if you're advocating for the negative, you're advocating for the status quo, which includes military commissions in federal courts, where both of them are an option. If they want to preserve the option, they have to show a reason for why that option should be preserved, and they've not really shown a compelling reason this entire round. The third voting issue is burdens fulfilled. One, we have shown that our case is significant because it deals with an inadequate system that has failed to bring closure to 9/11. We have shown that our case is on topic because it deals with a foreign policy directed at entities outside of the nation. We have shown that it solves for the problem because of the precedent of success seen throughout federal courts and what would be accomplished by doing so. And we have shown that there are no distinct disadvantages because any issues with evidence standards and problems involving cases happen in both systems, and there is no advantage to military commissions in any of these respects. Because of these, federal courts remain as the only option